And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Suits, which was the second from the last one. It's the penultimate episode before the mid-season finale, which is, I don't know, it's not that special, but it was a little special. I kind of had my hopes up for this episode because usually the episode right before finales for Suits is fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm here, of course, with Shana to discuss it. Now, a couple housekeeping things to get out of the way. Fun geography fact: Shana and I don't live near each other, but we're both in the path of a hurricane. Shout out. I know. But we're here anyways, doing some live reporting. Another fun fact, I am wearing a shirt. My hair is just covering it, but I'm not topless. Sorry if it looks like I'm topless, or for the fact that I'm not. Anyway, let's just get into it. So, we're going to start with rating tonight's episode on a scale from 1 to 5, as we always do. No surprises there. I want to hear from you guys watching. I want to hear what your favorite moments were, but first I want to hear what your rating is. If you had to rate the episode on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being fantastic, what are your favorites? Lived up to the hype that I sort of artificially created this morning of episodes right before finales being really good for Suits, which they usually are. That would be a 5. Or if it is terrible, you hated it, there was nothing good in it, whatever, that would be a 1. I'm going to toss it to Shana. Where are you at on this scale?
It was a 5 for lack of Sheila. No, it was like a 3.
That's fair.
It was like average. Yeah,
okay.
There was nothing special about it. Like,
okay.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it just...
It felt a little formulaic, I guess. And that's not even, I know that sounds like a complaint, and I don't really mean for it to be a complaint, but it was a little bit like, oh, this is what we do every episode. Alex versus Sam, Zane versus Spectre, Donna and Lewis are the go-betweens, and then we have Katrina and Brian, if there's room for an extra story. Granted, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion or not. You guys absolutely have every right to take the moral ground and yell at me, moral high ground, and yell at me on this, but I'm really enjoying the Katrina and Brian thing. I think it's really interesting. We'll put a pin in that and get back to it though. But yeah, it felt a little formulaic. I guess I would give it a 3.5, I guess, as well. It might get closer to a 4 if I'm like being honest, because it could be much worse. And they had some good moments in there. But let's see. In the chat, Nicole Fernandez says 3. The show is getting boring, sad face. Well, Nicole, it sounds like you're right here with me and Shana. Now, Shana, let me toss it back to you. So for it to get a 3 from you still means that there's something good going on. So let's start us off on a positive note. You and I are both about to die in a hurricane right now. Everything's off kilter. I have a middle part today. Like, the world is just not right. Start us off with some good news. What were the good parts getting you at least up to a 3?
Well, good news was no Sheila.
Okay.
Donna, like, getting out of that car to go see Gallo's daughter, just like the shot.
Yes. I thought she was going to get attacked on the street. Side note. Okay, back to you.
And I'm sorry, like, I don't have any morals. So definitely Brian and Katrina. Like, it's
you and me, girl.
It's that unrequited angst that I think we've been missing with Darby, because they're kind of, that's not even unrequited anymore. It's just like exhausting. Whereas these two, like,
with Harvey and Donna, okay, let me give you some context. So I was actually having to like look up tropes today because I was supposed to be like ranking my top 5 favorite tropes, right? And so I was going through this like list that somebody had put together on Tumblr, right, in order to rank it. And they had unrequited or like seemingly unrequited feelings. So that would be, I think, Harvey and Donna on there. And then actually unrequited feelings. And I think that is the main difference between Katrina, Brian, Harvey, and Donna. Harvey and Donna think that the feelings for each other are unrequited. They don't realize that the other one has those feelings. Whereas with Katrina and Brian, like, she seems to be kind of confused about her feelings for him, or genuinely has feelings, whatever, right? But he doesn't have feelings for her, like, he's got a wife and kids, like, he's chill, like, he's just her friend, and she's the one that's like confused by it. So it's actually unrequited, which is just it's interesting. Stephanie in the chat says, I didn't think the episode was bad. It just felt like deja vu. And she says she agrees with the whole Donna scene. She thought that Donna would get mugged on the street. Apparently that wasn't just me. Did you think that when you saw it for the first time, Shana?
No, I just thought, like, life is not a runway, sweetheart. Like, dial it back, especially because some of the, like, wardrobe choices for the other ladies were really awful tonight. Like, but they never miss a beat with her. And it's just like this beautiful, like, dark on dark. And then the fiery red hair shot, like, by that car. And I was like,
you know, another scene where Donna looked really good is when she was wearing that pink dress with the bell sleeves. And there was sort of this moment where she, like, I can't really do this because you can only see my head, thank goodness, right now. And she has, like, her arm kind of out and the light was kind of, like, going through I don't know. It's really pretty. It's in the scene where it's her, Zayn, Harvey, and Lewis. And there's, like, light, like, pouring through her, like, pink dress. It's gorgeous. She looks great. Stephanie in the chat says she agrees. She's been waiting for her Harvey and Donna hurt trope forever. And CL Thompson says, hi, which one of you is Math Goddess? Math Goddess, would you like to say hi?
what's up? I am in fact the goddess of the mathematics. It me.
Yes. Shana knows all about math. I
do. I numerically, statistically keep Suits on its toes with the shits. That'd be me.
Math wouldn't be my first choice, but sometimes we don't get our first choice in life. But we'll move right along. Oh, Stephanie also points out that you are the goddess of point, as in you know all about ballet and dance.
I don't know about goddess there, but thank you.
Well, let's talk about some other gods and mortals. So, with Suits, we're seeing a recurring storyline. I'm going to try to avoid the term repetitious, of seeing Harvey and Zayn go at it against each other. I don't know what this means, but they're butting heads, right? And we get to see that translated through Alex and Sam butting heads as well. Now, I know you and I have already kind of communicated that the storyline maybe feels a little redundant right now, which is fine because we're leading into the midseason. So after next episode, historically, Suits kind of transitions to another storyline. So it's coming to a head in some way. Putting aside the possible repetitious factor, where are you at with it? I know I saw Suits tonight tweeting a lot about, are you team Alex or team Sam? I know you want to be team Donna or something else entirely, but if you had to choose between Alex and Sam, where would you be at? And those of you watching, let me know in the chat as well. If you had to choose between Alex and Sam, I know quite a lot of us are in we don't really care that terribly much about either one camp, but if you did have to choose, where are you at? Shana?
I guess Sam, because I mean, women, and also I also feel like she really didn't deserve that, like, white number on top with the tying across and the cream underneath of it. So I feel like if she suffered that indignity, maybe she deserves to get her name on the wall just for that. And I think the thing is, she at least is a developing character. Alex it's very one note for me, which is funny considering where we started a couple months ago.
I mean, Alex has been around for a while. You would think that we would have some sort of stronger attachment to him than we have to Sam, and perhaps for some viewers they do, and if so, definitely let me know in the chat. I'm curious to hear. But you picked Sam. If I had to pick, I would pick Sam as well. CL agrees that she would also choose Sam. She also says hi from Twitter to you, Shana. She has enjoyed your tweets recently. And Stephanie also agrees. Like Shana said, Alex is underdeveloped. CL also commented that she really wants Brian and Katrina together, but then again, she also doesn't because she loves how faithful he is to his family. Okay, that's a very good point. I'm kind of in that in-between place as well. do we want to take a sidebar and talk about Brian and Katrina for a second? Let's talk about Brian and Katrina for a second.
Let's talk about Brian and Katrina.
Yes. First of all, I think I mentioned on Twitter that Suits was really, in part in the expression, going very balls to the wall with the parallels between Brian and Katrina, Harvey and Donna. Few people seem to agree, the Suits official account included, I guess, seem to agree with that. We talked a little bit about the parallels, but I kind of want to talk about Katrina and her own personal storyline. She actually got her senior partner position and her new office. What are you thinking about her storyline? Like, Brian aside, what do you think about our girl Katrina so far in this episode and this season?
I'm happy for her that she got the promotion that she deserved, and it was free of the same dramatic storyline we have every season. See also Alex and Samantha. But I feel like they're going for the, oh, well, my career, whatever, is empty because I'm not in a relationship. And I don't like that message. Especially, I mean, look, y'all ain't seen Harvey Specter get his senior partnership and then be like, oh no, I don't have a girlfriend. So, or, oh no,
I mean, a little bit. Like when Harvey has his big, we just made partner, blah, blah, blah moment, like he has different. Donna to share it with.
But that's the thing, but he, like, it wasn't, oh, Donna doesn't like me in that way, so it's empty. You know what I mean? Like he shared it with her, especially because he'd had her for 12 years at that point, except he hadn't actually had her because he's an idiot. But like, I don't know. It's I don't like the message because they've also painted Katrina in the past as the whole, well, she's cold because she's driven thing, which usually only seems to be with women.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, and I just thought of this, and CL just mentioned this in the chat as well, that when Brian was saying Katrina wouldn't understand because she doesn't have a baby, that was also very, that seemed to be, because it wasn't really just about her not having a relationship, although that definitely, especially for tonight's episode, seems to be a main component, that she doesn't have somebody to share her wins with, really, other than, you know, Brian and friends at the firm. And even just having friends around seems to be kind of new for her. She's been quite driven and focused and not really taken too much time outside of her studies. But the mentioning the kid thing also seemed to be a component of this. And it made me wonder if it is sort of foreshadowing, if, you know, we do know from spoilers / teasers that there may be a pregnancy on Suits this season. And of course, most of us expected that that would be Lewis and Sheila, unfortunately. But that may not be the case. It could be someone else. I don't know. I'm curious. Let's see in the chat what you guys are thinking. Yeah, CL said she was hurt when Brian mentioned Katrina doesn't have a baby. Stephanie says, I feel for Katrina. It's not just about having someone, but more like she doesn't really know how to navigate that area for life. Yeah, that's a very good point, Steph. Carol says, it seems that, again, a woman can't have both. She has to sacrifice, but a man doesn't. Like, she wasn't fulfilled. She might not be, but she worked very hard for what she got. It's sad, but yeah. And I think it's interesting because Lewis and Katrina have paralleled each other often in many ways, where things like navigating social situations, being quite like rule focused, by the book, that kind of player, not always like playing well with others. They have that in common. But with Lewis, we saw him struggle at times when it came to his personal life, but it wasn't really until, you know, now where he's in, I don't know how old Lewis is supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be a couple years older than Harvey. So Lewis should be, you know, at or near 50. It's only now that he's really like, oh, now I must have a kid, and now I must have, you know, a wife, you know, the whole thing. Whereas Katrina, I assume, is supposed to be early 30s or something like that. So, you know, they're kind of bringing that on her a little bit earlier, which is fine, you know, for plot reasons. Stephanie says this might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm still under the impression that Katrina is in the high functioning end of the spectrum. Yeah, in terms of like referencing like autism type spectrum stuff. And I don't know if that's come up in creator interviews before, but I think for both Lewis and Katrina, that concept has been brought up for them. Do you remember hearing anything about that, Shana?
I don't know. I think it would be interesting to look into. I'm sure there's stuff out there. I just haven't seen it. But in terms of anything official, I haven't seen it. And again, I think for me, if that wound up being the case with the character, I'd almost like it to more be unwritten than written anyway, right? Like, because if you put in a direction,
leave everything else about these characters unwritten. So
tell me about it. You know, if you were to actually specifically write that or direct it, I think it would not come across well. Whereas I think if that just happens to be what the actor brings to the character, or even what kind of unintentionally happens, I think that's when it will probably winds up being a little bit more natural and relatable than somebody who has no idea intentionally. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, it does. Stephanie also agrees. She says she never saw Katrina as cold, but more just being somewhat different. I think Lewis is another good example of that, which is probably why they parallel the two of them. Whether they're giving an actual word for it or not, they do seem to be different in the way they can or cannot like navigate or manipulate social situations. I'm curious now. We're gonna set aside the things we liked about the episode. We'll set aside the putting on a happy face and picking between Sam and Alex, regardless. We'll put aside Katrina and Brian, and I will now open the floor for Salty Shana to join and to tell us what didn't work in tonight's episode, or what hasn't worked for you tonight, and what you would like to see different. And as an example of that, Stephanie says that she still likes Lutrina, so Lewis and Katrina, who had a lovely scene at the end of the episode. And if you're on that ship, which I'll keep a good foot on that ship as well, left it a bit open for interpretation. What do you think?
What didn't work? I mean, we've already talked about how over the entire name partner thing I am, right? Like, I mean, that never works. I didn't need to see Tommy Bratton in his towel. No. And I mean, as always, there are certain characters who should be interacting a lot more out of the office and are not.
You can say Harvey and Donna.
I'm trying real hard. I'm trying to keep it open so that people can hear what they want to hear, because this is the show where you see what you want to see, and I'm tired of not seeing what I want to see. I don't like, you know, I've said it before, like, shit or get off the pot. I'm tired.
Well, do you feel like they're building up to it? Like, you wouldn't want it to happen. Would you be okay with it happening mid-season, or do you feel like the Harvey and Donna thing is more of a finale moment?
Well, I mean, and again, the way the show is set up, like, the mid-season is promoted as if it's a finale, even though we all know it never is.
Yeah, it's almost like they have 2 half seasons per year, and one is not necessarily more of a finale than the other, which is why I like the I don't like the mid-season finale. Historically, I've not liked the mid-season finales, but I usually like the episodes right before the finales and the episodes right before the mid-season finales, because it's usually ramping up. There's usually some sort of tension. They usually choose that time to sort of like plug Darby, plug a Donna storyline, whatever, and then quite often they drop the ball and kind of shove it to the side of the finale. And this time they didn't. There was not a ton of Donna. She was there just pretty much as a supporting character. Certainly wasn't anything for Harvey and Donna necessarily. I mean, they had a couple cute scenes in the office where they interacted, but, you know, nothing outside of the cases. All of the interpersonal development outside of office is happening for all the other characters, which is fine, again, if they're saving it for the finale. But
Mm-hmm.
I usually really like the episode right before any finale, but maybe that means all the good stuff is in the finale, and I'll like that.
I mean, the finale
You don't
has
look
to.
convinced.
The finale has to settle what they've wasted 9 episodes on building, though. So at this point, maybe as a cliffhanger, but how many times have they given us that and it did not pan out? So I think we're going to be waiting for another
century.
long time.
The chat definitely seems to agree with you. Carol says, we hear you, Shana, and we agree. Stephanie says, right now, there's no buildup. See, Steph, I agree that there's no buildup right now. I felt like there was some buildup that they were really working on at the beginning of the season, when they were setting the stage for them to both be single at the same time for the first time in forever and actually like interacting and on good terms. And then they just didn't really go anywhere with it, which disappointed but not surprised. That's the MO of the show. But since I'm going to continue to be a Suits apologist, I would say that they're saving it for the finale. Fingers crossed. Maybe next week's finale. And then if it doesn't happen next week's finale, I'm going to come on here and be like, they're saving it for the season 8 finale. And then when it doesn't happen, then I'll be like, well, they got renewed. So it's definitely going to happen in season 9. And my ass will still be here doing that forever when I'm truly old and gray, apparently. Or when Harvey and Donna are. Anyways, Stephanie says maybe they will do that thing where they have a previously on Suits and show Harvey dreaming about Donna. That would be lit if that happens.
Remember when that happened? That was like a century ago.
I do.
That was a very long time ago.
I was young and naive, young and spry, if you will. I was a different person.
Same. That's not true. I was going to say I was much less salty, but it's not true. I don't know why you would waste 10, possibly more episodes on yet another, who's going to be the name partner? Like,
I mean, I get it. I really do get like what the thought process is behind this, right? They want to remain an ensemble show, which is smart. I do not want this turning into the Harvey Specter show anyways, so I get it. They want to remain an ensemble show. Did I just go way out of focus? That's fine. I look better that way anyways. And they want to, replace Mike sort of as like someone for Harvey to play off of. They want to replace Rachel sort of as like the young and up and coming, whatever, right? So you've got these characters that I would say like Zane and Katrina, who were already there but are kind of now pushed to the forefront and they're more present and they're in more episodes, are kind of replacing. And you've got like the young cutthroat lawyers that are like coming up they've got the whole thing, and that's fine. I think and furthermore, I understand that in order to introduce 2 new characters who have like a strong point of view, which Alex and Sam are basically new characters. I know we've seen Alex before, but I feel like he's practically a rewrite at this point.
Mm-hmm.
In order to introduce them and have them have strong perspectives, they have to have a clear and understandable tie to Harvey and Zane so that we actually care about them, because we see, even if we don't care about Alex versus Sam, we can kind of care about Harvey versus Zane and just see Alex and Sam as pawns in that. So it allows us to care a little bit, even if we don't care about the characters. So I get it. I get the thought process. I get why that needed to be the first half storyline, not the last half storyline, because we want to introduce them in the first half. Like, I can connect all the dots. I get it. I just think there's not great chemistry, like, between Alex and Sam. Like, enemy chemistry, not romantic chemistry. I mean, like, chemistry just as like players playing off of each other. They don't have fantastic chemistry. I think that was super evident tonight in that whole like deposition, whatever scene where they had to be sitting with their clients at the table and fighting each other. And that was supposed to be this like big face off where they like get in each other's faces and fight. And it was just like, oof.
Yeah, that was really weak.
no shade at either of the two actors. Actually, like, they're both wonderful. I know Dule Hill has been extremely popular in other shows on USA Network before, like has his own following. Katherine Heigl, prior to this, I'd only seen her in movies, and I think she's doing a fantastic job as Sam in all of Sam's scenes with other players. I just think that these two characters, I don't know if it's the two characters in the writing or if, they just don't necessarily, like, you don't see them in a scene together. You're like, ooh, dynamic, like, fight, and I'll watch it. You know what I mean? It's just, okay, So I think that's their problem. But there's nothing really that can be done about that. That's,
Right.
I think maybe if they made it more about Harvey and Zane and they tied in people on Harvey's side, like Donna, and people on Zane's side, like more, who's on Zane's side? Katrina was kind of working with Zane at one point more. And they made it more about that rather than just Alex versus Sam. That might be a way around that. I don't know.
Or alternatively, go directly for it, because those are two very capable actors that are great against just about anybody, and every time they've been in a scene together, it's been really, really good. So why do it by proxy when you can, like, go for it?
Yeah.
I mean,
they may do that in the latter half of the season. They may drop back a bit on the Alex versus Sam thing and have Harvey actually go up against someone from his own firm. I don't know. Let's see what the chat says before we sign off for tonight. CL says they have to bring Darby together in the next few episodes of season 8. Stephanie says hashtag salty Shana versus hashtag Hallmark Steph. And Stephanie says, I feel like they haven't replaced Mike. Harvey is still in mourning. That's true. I mean, I guess they've replaced Mike in that it's sort of, who's going to replace Mike? Alex or Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Neither one, but it's fine though.
Yeah.
And CL says she's loving the poster of Gina in the background. She is on Instagram too, by the way. I too love this of Gina in the background. This is actually a life-size cardboard cutout of her. It's so much weirder than having a poster in the background, isn't it?
I'm still mad she didn't go to the convention with you.
This cutout was sent to me by Suits USA themselves in 2015 because this was promotional material that was used in the Suits college tour, which I also went to back in 2013. And so they had one life-size cutout of each character. They had one Jessica, which I have, one Lewis, one Mike, one Harvey, etc. And they sent, I think, one to like 6 fans. Like there were 6 fans and they sent one to each. And I didn't know anything about it. And then it just showed up on my door and stuff one day in a box without a return address. Anyways, that's the story. And she sits in my living room now. I heard sirens on your end. Do you need to evacuate?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just like the regular local hoodlums.
Fair, valid. In any case, I should let you go because I've kept you a full half hour and I've kept everyone else as well. But I appreciate everyone's thoughts and I appreciate having such an active chat tonight as well. It was fun to talk to you guys. Let's see. Stephanie says, still want cardboard cutouts of Harvey and Donna. I would do a dirty Instagram account of them traveling. Speaking of Stephanie's artwork, well, sort of. I'm going to speak of Stephanie's artwork. Stephanie does these cute little beaded Harvey and Donnas. I've seen them before. And she'll put them in little locations and like take pictures of them. It's the cutest thing ever. Stephanie says, come to Montreal, Shana.
I wish.
Yeah.
Like
CL
$1 million for a plane ticket.
Right. CL says, it's been great. Thanks for this. Well, thank you, CL, for coming. Yes. Anyways, it was so great to talk to you all. I will talk to you next week and it'll be the finale and we're going to love it. We're going to love it, Shana, aren't we?
We hope to be here.
Yes. I mean, unless we die in the hurricane first, and then we'll never know if we love it. You guys will have to live else in the afterlife.
If I die waiting for this show to get its shit together, I'm coming back to haunt somebody.
Yeah, me too. TBH. Stephanie's like, oh, do you remember all the art we did for contests years ago? I do. I do. I can't draw, and I drew for that. All right, good night. I'll see you next week.
Night.